What's up, Mindful Reality family? It's your boy Mark, and I'm doing a quick review of the Challenge All Stars Season 4, Episode 10. First of all, shout out to Mark Long for this hat. We want OGs. My first challenge event that I went to, they have these events called Challenge Mania for those people who don't know what those are. Those are events that Derek and his business partner Scott have put together where fans can come together with the challengers, your favorite challengers. They go to different cities. As far as I know, they've only done them in the U.S. So they go to different cities. They've gone to like Chicago. They always come to New York. They always go to California. And then they have a litter of other places that they go to. Philadelphia. I went to one in Philadelphia. They've had them in Buffalo. They've had some in, where else? I think I said Chicago already, but they basically go on a tour all year and they get different challengers. A lot of times they get the local challengers from that area and they come out. You can take pictures with them, you can ask them questions. Pretty cool event. So when I first went to my first challenge event, All Stars was just a concept at that time that Mark Long was pushing out to production, and he was trying to build up steam with the fans because a lot of people at that time felt like we were losing the essence of what the challenge used to be about. And when I first started watching the challenge, it was much less of a production. It was kind of cool in a sense that it was more about the fun that they were having in the house, the relationships that they were getting in. And then really when I got into it the most in its heyday was during the time of like the Bananas and West rivalry, where a lot of that stuff was dominating the storylines of what was going on. And the finals were actually much easier than they are now, and the challenges were much easier than they are now. And then in recent years, it became this thing where they get these chiseled athletes who come in there and they hire personal trainers. And then there's the aspect of it where they all are like, when I get on this show, I'm going to be a social media influencer. So I want to represent my brand. Trust me, I'm all for people not just having one opportunity at the show and then all their success in life depending on whether they win the show or not. I'm for them actually building their brands, becoming social media influencers, and starting companies and doing other things based on their show opportunity. But it has taken away from the aspect of people being really competitive in a sense that they want to win, you know. Now people are like, I just want to be on the show for another week because it gives me a week more of exposure and that type of thing. So it's pretty cool that All Stars has kept going. We're on season 4. Season 5 is currently being filmed and it's still going. I know some people are like, oh, it's not like the flagship, I don't like it. But as somebody who watched from when those All Stars were like 20, 21, 22, I love it. It's very nostalgic for me. And it's very inspiring too sometimes to see somebody who's been off of these things for 15 years, 20 years. They're in their 50s and they come back and they're willing to compete, and in some cases compete against people early 30s, mid 30s. I know that was a long introduction, but getting into a few thoughts, because I'm not really doing a full recap of the last episode. But the last episode was a guy's day after we got 2 female days in a row. And within the losing group, Jay actually won for the men on the daily challenge. And Jay says, I'm going to throw myself in regardless. The artist formerly known as Layup Jay, because I think Jay actually earned his respect this season. So Jay and Ryan, they show them having a conversation because both of them don't have stars. So they're like, what's up? You and me will go in against each other and the winner takes somebody's star. And they set it up like that's what's going to happen. But then there's another alternative, which I never thought about, where you throw in 2 star holders and make them go up against each other, and then one person gets a free star. In one sense, you could call that smart, but I would say that's only a smart move, to be honest with you, if you are a star holder. Like if you currently hold a star, throwing in 2 star holders makes sense, because then you can't possibly lose your star, because there's no star to be taken, because one of the losers is going to have a star, an extra star to be given away. But if you don't have a star, there's 6 people. Well, at the time there were 7 people with no stars. So the thing about that is the winner could give the star to anybody, so you're not in control of your own destiny, is what I'm trying to say, if you leave it up to the winner to give somebody a star. So that's more of a risky strategy. So for those who are saying, oh, Jay was dumb for going in, I don't know, because there was only one daily left, and who knows what they're gonna do when it comes to these 6 people who currently don't have stars. And they all need a star to run the finals, and only 6 people can have a star. So Ryan all of a sudden has an about face, and he's like, you know what, I don't think this is the right time. I don't want to go in against Jay, which now, I mean, I'm going to get to that, but Ryan said, I don't want to go in against Jay. He kind of chickened out. So then Ryan was like, you know what, I want Leroy and Steve to go in against each other. I don't want to go in anymore. So it was a close vote. It was a close vote with this middle group. It was a very close vote with this middle group. And Adam spearheaded this thing where he was like, mathematically, to keep my star safe, it's a no-brainer. I want Steve and Leroy to go in against each other. But they showed at the beginning of the episode that Adam was like, Steve is my friend of 20 years. We talk all the time on the phone. He's a good man. He's a good father. We've kept in touch this whole time. He's a great guy. But when it came down to it, he was like, this is a non-emotional decision. I want to protect my star. And the best chance of me protecting that star is to have 2 star holders go in against each other. So it is what it is. Like, I'm voting for Steve. And then it showed, what's his name? Ace. It showed Ace almost in tears. Like, I made my promise to Ryan, and Ryan is such a good man and my spirit animal and whatever else he said. So I don't want to say this, but so then they were basically like, okay, so you're selecting Leroy and Steve. So Leroy and Steve, they're the 2 choices to go down, and Jay has an option of letting them go against each other, and then the winner of that gives a star to somebody else, or jumping in. So we didn't know 100% what's going to happen, because we saw Laurel in that same predicament where Laurel made the promise to Cam that I'm going to put you down there, but I'm going to take you out so that I can go against Kara and humble her and take her star away. And then when she saw everything, she decided, nah, Cam, you could do it. And then Kara eliminated Cam. So we didn't know what Jay was going to do. So we keep having these dramatic moments every time where TJ is like, so what's it going to be, Jay? Are you going to come down here and earn your star? Or are you going to let Leroy and Steve battle it out for the star? So then they had the little commercial thing. They come back. Jay is like, well, you guys can do it. No, I'm just kidding. So Jay's like, okay, I'm going to go down. And Leroy, you can come back up. Leroy thanks him. thanks for being a man of your word. It shows Laurel in the confessional being like, that's dumb. Like, you looked at this challenge, you have to go underwater, and it involves building this puzzle with colors, and you're colorblind. And he talks about his nose is broken and he's colorblind, but he was just like, I'm a man of my word, I'm gonna do it. Which again, at first I was like, this is kind of dumb, but thinking back to it, it might not have been, for a couple of different reasons. But anyways, we get this battle now. We get Steve going against Jay. So it looked like Steve won by a pretty wide margin. You know, the edit was pretty good to make it look like it was close. But if you look at how far along he was with this puzzle when he finished versus how far along Jay was, I think he won by a pretty significant margin. So now Steve has a choice of whose star he's going to take and give to somebody else. And it showed this little conversation of Jay talking to Steve before the elimination had happened. And he was like, so Steve, knowing that Adam campaigned for you to go in there against Leroy, if you win the elimination and get a chance to take the star, would you take Adam's star? And he was like, that's true. That is an interesting thought. That's an interesting thought. So that's the star that he ends up taking. He ends up taking his friend of 20 years, Adam's star. But I'm thinking to myself, all's fair in love, war, and the challenge, because as I said earlier, Adam was more than willing to allow him to go in there and fight to stay in the house, even though his vote could have actually kept Steve out of the elimination. So, I'm sure he would be pissed anyways, but I didn't think it would be this nasty, where he's telling him, oh, you have no friends in real life, this is why nobody likes you. This is one of the most vicious, quite honestly, confessionals that I've seen after somebody has something that they're pissed about. Maybe they had them like this back in the day and I just don't remember. Like, I know people said wild things in the house, but in terms of elimination, after an elimination, I don't remember somebody being this vicious. Like, oh, you don't have any friends in real life. He flipped him the bird and he's like, you can sit on it and spin. Called him the B word. He was like, oh, I'm getting sweaty even talking about this a-hole. I was like, whoa, Adam. Whoa. What is going on with you? So I thought that was really nasty. I didn't like that. I haven't seen anyone say that they don't like Steve or they feel that way about Steve. Like Steve seems, he's kind of quirky. He's pretty funny. I was laughing at the the way they edited it when he was like, oh, I'm gonna go wash my hair. Hi, Dean. So I was laughing at his whole description of what he's gonna do, and he's gonna wash his hair, and he's like, I'm safe, I'm not going into elimination. Then he came out, he's like, oh, I was in there for no more than 20 minutes, and then I came out, and all of a sudden, I'm going in. So I think that was undeserved. I hope that Adam comes out and apologizes for that, because I don't know. And I don't know how. I was looking around on the internet to see if I could find out if Steve had any response to that. But Steve is pretty inactive on social media, so I don't know. I don't really know what's happening presently with that. But anyways, that's where we are. Adam got his star stolen. So now we have our 6 star holders. We're into the week of our last daily challenge coming up this Wednesday. I don't know how that's going to work, because only probably at most 2 stars are up for grabs. I could see them doing 1 male star up for grabs, 1 female star up for grabs in a double elimination. I could see that happening. or it could be 1 star up for grabs. But what I wonder is the person who gets the opportunity for that last star going to be tied into the daily somehow? Are they going to make the daily like some free-for-all for all the people who don't have stars? I don't know. Or is it going to just operate like a regular daily where there's a winning group, a middle group, and a losing group, and the last star holder, the last eliminations depend on that? It could be that. It could be something where TJ is like the person who does not get chosen to be in the elimination and doesn't have a star is just out of the competition. So it's very interesting because they have so many different routes that they can go with this. And like I said, I love All Stars. I'm really looking forward to seeing the last 2 episodes. We've got season 40 loading. We've got Challenge All-Star season 5 loading. We've had our fill of challenge over these last few years. At first, I'll be honest, I really didn't like having so many iterations of the challenge because they're all different. Like the Challenge USA, the Challenge World Championships. Then they had all these different countries challenges, which I didn't really see, but I was like, there's so many different branches on this tree right now. We got the Challenge All-Stars. And I was like, man, just stick to the flagship. But I think what has happened is that all these different versions have given the show competition. It's like it's competing with itself to produce and create its best version. And I'm all for it because I like all the different ones now for different reasons. USA might be my least favorite, but that's just because they have less challengers on there and more people from other shows, but it's grown on me. I liked World Championships. And that's all I got for today. So thanks for joining me. Please make sure, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel to get notified of when I drop some more great content. Thank y'all and have an amazing day.